Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Doctor. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and today we're going to be taking a little bit of a look into Agrias. Now, if you didn't know, there is going to be a second Final Fantasy Tactics banner that's going to be coming out in the near future. It's going to feature Agrias, Mustadio, and Delita. Agrias, of course, being the primary pick for everyone. There's been a lot of talk about whether you should hoard for Agrias, if she's the one, if she's the ultimate waifu that you should be holding out for. So we're going to go ahead and answer that question and dive right in here, you guys. Her primary job is going to be Holy Knight, her secondary job Paladin, and her third job Cleric. She is Ice Element, and she does have access to her TMR, the Holy Knight Armor, which is going to give you HP 488, Defense 6, and Spirit 11. Now, thank you so much to Key. He was able to let us show footage of Agrias' Limit Break. If you don't know Key, he is a JP player, and he has a community of his own, and when I reached out to him, he told me we could use his footage in the videos that we make. So that is an example of Agrias' Limit Break. You can see it has huge range with the 5 range. It, of course, is Ice Element. It's going to deal large damage, and it has a chance of inflicting confusion. The total AP cost is 49, and I think for anyone that uses Agrias, you are actually going to be having a chance to get these abilities off, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Agrias' master ability is very similar to Odin. It gives single target attack resistance plus 15. That's going to mean that attacks like Shuriken, Kien, melee attacks are all going to be reduced by 15% of damage. In addition to that, she does have the highest, or one of the highest HPs out of any unit in JP or Global, 2,934 HP. She gets an additional HP plus 200, which is going to mean she is going to be one of the few units that has over 3,100 HP. Her TP is going to be 142, AP in at 134, attack, probably her second most important stat here, 234, is going to get enhanced by an attack plus 45 and an additional attack plus 20%, putting her well over the 300 attack category. For those of you that know, usually anything over 300 attack is going to be considered pretty strong towards a DPS, especially for base stats. So not only is she tanky, she's going to be able to deal a lot of damage. Her magic stat is 70. A lot of people might get scared when they see her agility at 53 here, but you have to keep in mind that her ability board does give her access to agility plus 8, putting her at 61, and 61 is sort of middle of the road, right? It's not too fast, it's not too slow. Pretty good for Agrias. Dexterity plus 176, luck plus 165. A movement of 3 and a jump 1 is going to be her biggest drawback here, but with the range of her techniques and some of the buffs that she provides, I don't think this is going to hold her back too far. Finally, she does of course get defense plus 6 and spirit plus 6, making her just the more tankier. Taking a look at her equipment here, you do have a lot of options for weapons. I think the best option is probably going to be the Assault Ice Brand plus 5. If you can't have access to that, or if you think that's maybe a little bit too obnoxious to build, of course your Lionheart or your Nagarok with Assault build is going to be just fine for her. I wouldn't recommend a critical hit build because I don't think she's going to be a unit that relies on critical hit buffs. I could be wrong, but I don't see her focusing on critical hit at all. In terms of body armor, I think Iron Plate plus 5 would do her good with Shield or Vital. Giving her that 15 defense from Shield would be very nice, unless you have some type of a TMR buff or a TMR armor. In terms of accessories, I could see a Fairy Ring plus 5 or a Jeweled Ring plus 5 focused on aim. I don't see her being an evasion tank. She really needs to be built either to be able to take a hit or to survive. Taking a look at her primary abilities, you guys, these are the two I thought were the most viable. Talisman significantly raises spirit for allies within area around self for 1 turn. It's going to give spirit plus 45 for 1 turn. It's essentially a magic sentinel that you can pop around you, and I could see this being viable, especially with the magic meta that has sort of been created in JP right now. Her primary attacking ability is going to be Judgment Blade. It's going to deal large damage to targets within area and a chance to inflicting stop. It is only 2 squares in front of her though, so it does have a limited range. The physical attack modifier though is 200% and it's only AP 30, so I could see this actually getting off. If your her sub job is Holy Knight, which I think is probably going to be her best sub job, she also gets access to Holy Guard's protection, which bestows a barrier on allies within an area that reduces magical damage 3 times. And that magical damage reduced is going to be 35%. So that's pretty much like a 40% magical barrier on your allies that they can take by getting hit 3 times. Holy God, if I could say that correctly. Now, one other thing to look at here is look at how much TP that takes to cast. That is 42 TP. That is going to generate a lot of AP for Agrias. Not only that, look at the TP cost of Talisman. TP 36, that is also going to generate a lot of AP for Agrias. Looking at her next ability here, I Trust You, raises attack and magic of male ally for 3 turns. Attack and magic power plus 30%, TP 18 to cast. So Agrias is going to be an AP generating machine, you guys. And because of that, she is going to have access to her limit break if you set up your party formation correctly. Taking a look at Paladin sub, she does gain access to more defensive capabilities here with Saint's Wall, Divine Grace, Taunting Blade, of course, all things that are pretty relevant. You might actually need to sub Paladin in JP since the hate change has happened so that you have access to Attract Blade or Taunting Blade as it's known in Global. Green Mage sub I don't see using very often. It's going to grant you Asuna, it's going to grant you Light Veil, and it's going to grant you Dark Veil. Asuna can be useful when you're doing events like Tower and other types of content, so it's important to keep that in mind. I definitely wouldn't not level Asuna. I would probably max it out and just set it whenever I needed it. In terms of her passive, she does get Spirit Up, which is going to be Spirit plus 15, Holy Knight's Blessing, which is going to be HP and defense up 12%, Chivalry, which is going to be an attack plus 30%, and Knight's Faith, which is going to be agility plus 12% and Spirit plus 12. Now, if I were going to be setting things, I would probably set Chivalry and Holy Knight Blessing. I don't think she needs the agility plus 12% or the Spirit plus 12, but let's say there was a really powerful magic meta. Maybe you would change Holy Knight's Blessing for Knight's Faith. I'm not 100% sure. I definitely do want Chivalry though, because I want her to deal some damage and to be able to kill some opponents. In terms of her counter abilities, she does have access to defense, which is going to be 30% damage reduction. Paladin Guard is going to be a physical damage reduction of 45%, and Auto Cure. Again, I don't see Auto Cure being set. I think more likely you're going to be setting defense, and then if you're going up against a melee team, you might be setting Paladin Guard. In terms of her resistances, she does have 5% resistance to slashing, 10% weakness to piercing, but again, who doesn't have a weakness to piercing? 5% resistance to blunt, 20% resistance to magic. She's 10% weak to fire and 20% resistance to wind. Interestingly enough, she does have paralysis and charm resistance. If I were going to be setting an Esper on her, I would probably set War Mech or Golem. It's going to be high HP. Golem's going to have that man killer, give her a little bit more damage. War Mech is going to have that defense as well, just like Golem. So those are kind of the 2 tankiest Espers that you would put on right away. Iron Giant's also going to be good with that slash attack up and slash resistance with that high HP. Finally, of course, Ifrit for the missile attack resistance, since she doesn't have any innate missile attack resistance, and that ice resistance and attack plus that Ifrit usually offers. Now, getting into the cards is when we really get into interesting territory here. There are so many options for a tank, and we're just going to go ahead and talk about all of them. Leona's Castle, of course, with the defense plus 15, spirit plus 15. Always a viable option, very powerful. You could set Golem for that max HP plus 25%, HP plus 500. Very powerful as well. Odin for the Man-Eater plus 10 and single attack resistance plus 20. Keep in mind this would raise her single attack resistance to plus 35, and it would increase her damage by 10%. It's a beast of a card. I think though most people are going to be setting Vow of Love on Agrias for that slash attack plus 20, enmity plus 5, and attack plus 30% for the party. I think though that with the changes to Vow of Love, I think you could actually potentially create a build without using Vow of Love. And I know that sounds crazy, but I think you would have to have Agrias sub Paladin, focus on using that Taunting Blade, and really adjust your team so that she's the first one to charge forward. Pops that Taunting Blade, because that enmity plus 5 is going to be reduced very quickly because of the hate changes in JP. Iron Giant, of course, always a viable option. Slash attack plus 20, agility minus 3%, with slashing attack resistance plus 15% for the whole party. White Bodyguard actually is a pretty good card right now. I'm not sure I would use it fully on Agrias though, because that max HP minus 15%. HP is definitely one of her biggest boons right now, and that slash attack resistance and missile attack resistance is really good though. It's definitely a tough call. There are a couple cards out now that are in JP that aren't out in Global that are also going to be really relevant for Agrias. So Road to Vengeance is going to be one of them. Defense plus 10, slashing attack plus 20 for the party. This card is actually going to be coming out in Global potentially next week or the week after, I think. It'll be coming out soon. It is an MR card, so you are going to be able to upgrade it to max relatively easily. I think it's going to give a high power level, and you're going to see it a lot in PvP comps that are designed around defense and attack. Like, I think this card would be amazing for Orlando, for example, giving him that survivability, but also buffing his attack power. And then, of course, with the Final Fantasy Tactics 2 banner, we also get the UR card Reed Pipe, which fully maxed out is going to be 331 HP, attack plus 154, with a attack plus 20% for the specific unit and evasion minus 5, which is very powerful for Agrias. Remember, she is already over 300 attack. And then the party ability of accuracy plus 25, very powerful, kind of overcomes all of the passive evasion that all of the units have. Going to be very useful for you and for your team when you do choose to employ it. All right, you guys, we are at the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Do remember, if you're going to be buying Visior with Amazon coins, that you use my affiliate link down below. It is one of the easiest ways to support me without giving me money directly. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment. Please jump in our Discord. We do love hearing from you guys. And you guys, I hope you guys all have a good rest of your day.